Hey Vinyl community, hey New Wavers, it's Shad with Vinyl New Wave. Today's video I'm going to go over some VCLT, my first VCLT, my first sale of a personal record on Discogs, and we'll finish up by doing 5 roll the dice picks. So we'll start off here with VCLT. This is my first VCLT that I've received, and this is from Steven over at Value Vinyl. And so, like everybody else, I've already taken it out of the box, sorry, but like everybody else, I got the nice little letter from the vinyl saying, "Hi there, thanks for adopting us. We're your gift vinyl and are so happy you choose us. We're excited to be in our new home. We're not perfect, and some of us may skip a song or two. It makes us sad, but you see, we are rescues and have had a hard life. If we cannot play to your satisfaction, we'll be happy to be a placeholder for you. Thank you for loving us enough to give us a home. With love, the Vinyl Rescues. Hashtag all vinyl lives matter." So I just wanted to say thank you to Steven and his wife and daughter for sending these out. I really appreciate them. I know he's been going through a tough time lately, and from kind of some of the things that you've said, I think you may be going through an experience that I've gone through twice with 2 of my kids over the last little while, and so I feel you, Steven. Hang in there. It can get better. It definitely can get better. With that said, let's show you these records. None of these records are actually really new wave, but all 3 of them had a real important role in my childhood. So when I saw that he had them available, I asked for them. The first one is the Wichita Lineman from Glen, Campbell. For some reason, when I was tiny, I loved Glen Campbell. In fact, one of my memories is, we had a cabin up at a lake, and we had my aunt and uncle and cousins from California up visiting with us, and we were up at the lake, and we had gone swimming at it was a hot spring, and they had like an indoor pool there, and then they had kind of a lounge area, and there was a jukebox in the lounge area, and they had Rhinestone Cowboy in the jukebox, and I loved that song. I absolutely loved Rhinestone Cowboy as a kid, and so my uncle just sat there and fed quarters into that jukebox for who knows how long, and kept replaying Rhinestone Cowboy so I could sit next to the jukebox and listen to it. So I've grown. I love Glen Campbell, and also Glen Campbell just in the last few years passed away from Alzheimer's, and that's very close to me too. My mother passed away from dementia 4 years ago now. Wow, it's gone by quick. But we had cared for my mom here in our house, and I just have a lot of memories of my mom and dementia, and the documentary that they did with Glen really struck home. So I was happy to get this. I still don't have Rhinestone Cowboy, so hopefully someday I'll find a good copy of Rhinestone Cowboy, but for now I'm very happy to have Wichita Lineman from Glen Campbell. The next one, Glenn didn't want to stand up. The next one is Huey Lewis in the News, sports. Huey Lewis in the News. They were on fire between 83 and 86, 87. They were just on fire. This album, I think, kind of really propelled them into their 80s superstardom. It's got the heart of rock and roll. I Want a New Drug, which was really kind of scandalous. If This Is It. I mean, just some really great tunes on this. And I think because of this album, Zemeckis chose them to do several songs for Back to the Future, which came out a year and a half, 2 years later. And then they had their other album for the next year after that. But I mean, between this album, the Back to the Future soundtrack, and 4, these guys were just on fire. You couldn't go anywhere without hearing a Huey Lewis and the News song. So I was glad to pick this one up. I have a lot of really good memories of listening to this on the radio and dancing and stuff to all these good songs. So I'm glad to receive that one. And finally, Chicago 17, the album that Chicago themselves hates. I don't know. You're the Inspiration is. I learned to play You're the Inspiration on the piano back when I was a kid, and to this day, it's like I can still do. I can get a few bars into the song before I get lost, but yeah, this is such a great album. It's definitely a lot more commercial than any other Chicago album, and I'm sure that most of the Chicago diehard fans hate it, but I know that Chicago themselves really didn't like the direction they went because they were kind of pushed into doing things this way by the record company, but it paid off for them. That was this album, and those, the songs on this album were just massive. So I'm happy finally to get that one. So thank you, Stephen, Value Vinyl. If you don't follow his channel, definitely check him out. It's funny to see a guy get excited about records that I would just pass over in the dollar bin, but he gets excited about just about anything. And so Stephen, I'm probably going to find you like a stack of Mormon Tabernacle Choir records, because they're plentiful here in Utah, and they need good homes. So I will probably find a stack of Motab records for you. But yeah, give Stephen a follow. His channel, a link to his channel is in the description. All right, up next is an album that I have sold, and will be sending it on to a new home soon. So a little background on this. Earlier last week, I had a friend of mine he's kind of become a concert photographer. He photographs concerts around here, and he shot the Indigo girls up in Deer Valley a couple weeks ago, and he and I were kind of talking about that, and I told him, I said, Indigo girls just aren't my thing. But then I remembered, I have that Indigo girls record. And so I came home and I pulled it out, and it's the Swamp Ophelia album, and you can see on the hype sticker here, it's a limited edition autographed copy, and so I bought this back when 94, 95 when it came out. I was dating a girl who was really into the Indigo girls, and I know, don't ask. They have a demographic, but I was at the record store and I saw that they had this. They had like 2 copies of it, and so I bought a copy for her and I bought a copy for me. And so this is the autographed. It's got a white label, and then it's got both Amy and Emily's autograph on here. And you can tell, you can see where they like put it down on something before it dried, and it kind of run a little bit, and you can, and like Emily, she drew a little tree on this one, but I've seen pictures of 2 or 3 other ones, and some of them have a peace sign, some of them have arrows, some of them have flowers. They kind of did a different thing with each one of them. So it's kind of a cool little item. But as I was talking to my friend about it, I was like, you know what, that's not a record that I'm probably ever going to really listen to again or enjoy again. because I'm not really into the Indigo girls. So I should put it up on Discogs and see what happens. You know, I mean, I knew it was worth a little bit of money, and so I put it up on Discogs and on Wednesday, and I got a message on Thursday that I didn't see until, and then the same person sent me another message on Friday and said, hey, I'm interested in buying your record. Can you send me a picture of the label with the autographs on it? So I sent that to them this morning, actually this evening, and they got right back to me and said, I'll take it. And they've sent me the money already. So that's off to a new home. And I'm happy to do it. I'm sure it's going to go to a collector who enjoys the Indigo Girls. I looked at her profile, and she's got a lot of Indigo Girls stuff in her collection. So I'm happy that it's going to a good home, someone that's going to love it and appreciate it. So yeah, with that being said, let's dive right into some picks. All right, let's see here. So the first one is Election Day 12-inch single by Arcadia, otherwise known as Most of Duran Duran. This is a great song, Election Day. I always end up pulling it out in November and listening to it because I'm cheesy and stupid like that. But yeah, this is the consensus mix of Election Day and I don't even know what's on the B-side. She's Moody and Gray, she's mean and she's restless. It's just another version of the song. So yeah, there's like 3 versions of this on that. It's on this custom label. Kind of a cool record. I've always liked this song. So all right, next one. A really good classic new wave dance tune. Let's see, where is it? It is Boys Don't Cry. I wanna be a cowboy, and you could be my cowgirl. I love this song. This is a great song. It's cheesy and dumb and like it's totally a one-hit wonder, right? Boys Don't Cry didn't really have any other hits. Backed with a song called Josephine, which I can't for the life of me think of in my head. But yeah, Boys Don't Cry. And this is a European pressing. Okay, number 3. Another great 12-inch single. And where are you? Oh, here you are. I have had problems with my stool. I need to get a new one. I've had, I don't know how many copies of this, because for some reason I just kept buying it, which is funny because I've had it since it came out. But this is Wildflower by The Cult. The 12-inch single, it's got a remix, a dub, and then the LP version on it. Love this song. I absolutely love this song. And it's a great cover too, that flower. Yeah. Probably I think this is probably my favorite Cult song. I mean, I like Firewoman and She Sells Sanctuary and stuff, but I think this is my all-time favorite. And you know, funny is I actually I played this at the club all the time back there, and I would clip the amp. I'd turn it up so loud that the amps would clip out and we'd lose like the high end because the screaming guitar on it would just like overwhelm the amps, and so they would go into protection mode so they wouldn't burn stuff out, because I love this song. And in my house we have a rule: if we're in the car and the Cult comes on, the volume goes up to 100. If you ask my wife or any of my kids, they know what the Cult rule is. So Cult, love the Cult. Okay. Number 4, random item. Okay. We're staying in the first 3 letters of the alphabet today. Now this one is another one that, like the Glen Campbell and other records, takes me back to my childhood. And that's the Carpenters. This is the Passage album. I just, there's a few things that, like I said, there's a number of records that remind me of my childhood, and specifically my parents. And the Carpenters really, my parents really liked the Carpenters. And so we would, I have memories of just riding on road trips in the Oldsmobile as a kid with the Carpenters playing on an 8-track as we drove across the country. This one's got some really kind of funky, some really good songs on here, like Don't Cry For Me Argentina from Evita, Calling Occupants of Interplanetary Craft, that cover of the old Klaatu song, which is just a bizarre song, and it's something you just can't, it's hard to imagine coming out of Karen Carpenter's. If you read the lyrics, you would never think the Carpenters would have ever done that song, but they did. And Karen Carpenter, of course, made it sound like heaven. I love Karen Carpenter. Her voice is incomparable, and I don't think really there has been another female vocalist that I can think of that has come even close to the sound that she could generate. She was truly a gem, and I'm sad that she passed away in such a tragic fashion. So, Carpenters. Okay, and the last one, last random item. That one is a CD, so I'm going to skip it. Okay. Sticking again with all the C's. I think I've shown a version of this album before. This is Culture Club, Color by Numbers, with Karma Chameleon, It's a Miracle, Church of the Poisoned Mind. Yeah, this is a great classic album. I love this album. Culture Club's just got some great stuff. And just since we're at it, I also have that same album on a picture disc. So there's that, and then there's the B-side. So there is my collection. There's 5 random items from my collection. Well, 6, I guess, including if I show both versions of that. But If you like any of the records that I showed, please like the video, and if you aren't already, please subscribe. Again, thank you to Steve at Value Vinyl, and until next time, you spin me around like a record, baby.